Hey dancers, welcome back to Broche Banter. I'm your host, Julie, and today I am thrilled to welcome Sylvia, who studies at the Tournesol Dance Studio with our recent guest, Erica. After leaving track at age 17, Sylvia discovered her passion for ballet and has since explored all kinds of various styles, including modern, jazz, and tap dance. In this heartfelt conversation, Sylvia openly shares how she navigates social anxiety and autism, revealing how performing on stage has become an unexpected joy in her life. Tune in and be inspired by her deep love for dance and her very adventurous spirit. Also, if you're in the Rochester area, catch Sylvia performing as one of the witches in this year's Night Before Christmas with the Rochester Adult Ballet Company. And with that, I hope you enjoy the conversation. Welcome to Broche Banter, Sylvia. I'm so happy to get to chat with you today.
Yeah, you too.
So we're going to talk today about your ballet journey. You dance with the Tournesol Dance Studio up in Rochester with Erica, who we just had on the podcast recently for our multi-part episodes. So it's really great to get in touch with you. It's so fun to get to chat with a dancer from that amazing school. So how long have you been doing ballet for?
Well, I started doing it when I was 17. It was during my senior year of high school. It was during that year when I took a couple of recreational classes at a local studio. So I did ballet and jazz, and
Mm.
that's kind of how I got started.
What made you start at that time?
So what was happening? So during high school, I would run track every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But I had to quit track during my junior year because I just had really bad anxiety back then. I still have anxiety now, but back then it was a lot worse. So I had really bad anxiety, so I had to quit track during my junior year. So I decided during my senior year to start taking dance lessons. I knew friends that were like on the competition team at that studio and some people that did the recreational classes there. And I saw a lot of their shows and I was like, why not do it?
Awesome. Did you find that it gave you any more anxiety? Did it relieve any of your anxiety, or how did it impact that at that time in your life?
Well, at the time, it was like, well, I didn't really commit much time to dance. I only did it 2 45-minute classes a week, but it was definitely a lot lighter commitment than track. And honestly, these classes were the highlight of my week.
Oh, that's awesome. Did you meet, were the other kids there? Or I guess if it's in an open classes, maybe they weren't kids. Were the other people in your studio, were they your age? Were they older adults, or who were you dancing with at
So
that
I
time?
was did a teen recreational class.
Okay.
So I believe it was like 13 to 18.
Oh, nice. So you were in a good age range there.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you started with no dance experience. Had you ever danced at all before? You'd only
Actually
run
a
class?
tiny bit. I did a
Okay.
jazzercise camp when I was 8 years old. Oh my, the video of mom did like a video of the showcase. It's hilarious. I did not know what I was doing. I mean, I was in like a routine at my camp when I was 9. I was in the back row of it because I wanted to be hidden.
That's
It was
funny.
to whip your hair back and forth, by the way. And the funny thing is that my very first dance teacher, my very first ballet teacher, I actually did a workshop with her. So in my elementary school, when I was in first and second grade, instead of doing like a Halloween celebration, we did like a fall festival or whatever. And we did like workshops, and one of them was a dance workshop. And my first ballet teacher actually taught those workshops. So yeah.
Wow, how fun. So when you were getting started in your ballet and your jazz class, were the other people in your class also beginners, or were you hopping into the deep end with people who already had dance experience?
So it was a recreational class, so a lot of them were just doing it for fun. Some people were doing it for musicals, but like, well, everyone in the class had some dance experience. We were all just doing it for fun. It was a very chill environment.
Nice. Do you still remember the teacher? You still remember the teacher and everything, and some of the other students that were in the class?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so you did ballet and jazz for a little bit when you were 17. How long did that go, or have you been taking continuously since then?
So so basically things shut down due to COVID that year.
Oh,
So
okay, this was COVID time. Got it.
yeah. And I remember, so I started college then,
Hmm.
and I was not dancing during my freshman year. But there was this one point in the middle of my freshman year when it was at the beginning of the winter semester where for a week we had to like be in quarantine in our dorms. And it
Hmm.
was during this time when I decided to learn some mostly commercial jazz routines. And later, so I wasn't doing technique classes throughout most of college, but I was part of my college's dance collective and I was in routines there. And I did a few classes during the summer, but I didn't start regularly taking technique. Actually, I took a dance improvisation class during the spring semester my junior year. But it wasn't until like the summer after graduating college in 2024 when I started like regularly doing technique classes again.
And was that with Tournesol when you started regularly doing technique classes?
No, actually, it was
Oh,
at like another studio. It had like a wider range of styles, so like tap and modern,
mhm.
but that studio closed down in like this past January. So I decided to join Tournesol.
Oh, great. That's awesome. So what was I'm curious to hear about what the dance improvisation class was like. That sounds like for some improvisation can be super intimidating, but for some it's like super, super fun. How was it for you on that experience?
So I took this class to like get an arts performance credit because I needed it to graduate. And there were a lot of people with varying dance backgrounds. Like there was this one person who was like, I believe she's a dance major now, and she's been dancing her whole life. And there are a lot of non-dancers, but they were still movers. They like did sports.
Hmm.
In this class, it was a really fun class. Like we actually there was this one time where we had to like pretend to be animals in front of like the student center.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. We were encouraged to like basically be fearless in this class
Mm.
and like kind of get out of our comfort zone, which was kind of therapeutic to me because I have social anxiety.
And it really forced you to get out of your comfort zone in probably many ways in that regard, especially if you're having to do this in front of people and interacting with people in this way.
Yeah.
So when you were so you've been taking dance classes kind of on and off, obviously as in the beginning, especially as COVID allowed, but throughout your college time, I mean, college can be kind of a busy time. What kept you coming back to dance? Why did you keep taking those classes and making the time for it?
So basically, in the beginning, it was just something I did for fun. I didn't really anticipate continuing to do it unless maybe taking like a dance fitness class or whatever.
Yeah.
But I realized I really liked performing. I think it was when I did like the dance collective at my college. When I just they're like my the highlight of my college experience. These
Oh.
shows they were just like a lot of fun, and a lot of my friends were from the club were dance majors and minors, so I got to see their performances and I
Mhm.
was just so inspired by them. Like I was inspired by like their really creative choreography, and I believe it was my junior year when I was like, I want to do choreography.
That's great. So when you started performing, how did that mix with the social anxiety? Did you have stage fright? Were you nervous at all? Or was it just like, okay, this is my time to shine. And in this context, I feel comfortable doing it. How was that for you?
Well, okay, to be honest, I if you were to ask my like 11-year-old self, if I were to ask my 11-year-old self about it, then she would be like, "What? Why are you dancing?" Because I used to think I'd hate being on stage. Like
Really?
I used to see the Nutcracker. I still see the Nutcracker every year
Huh?
at at like my local ballet, the Rochester City Ballet's Nutcracker every year with my mom, and I saw my brother's dance recital a long time ago. He took a hip hop class once, and I remember the stage looked so intimidating,
Hmm.
and I was like, I do not want to perform. But then I joined track, and track is kind of like a performance. I was like running in front of people. I was like the underdog that everyone cheered for
Hmm.
because I was really slow. So I was like, you know what, performing wouldn't be that bad. So I didn't get to do the recital in 2020, but so my first big performance was actually my sophomore year of college. But like, I believe track kind of prepared me for that. I was nervous to get on stage at first, but like, it was all really fun. And when I was on stage, it was a lot of fun. I messed up a lot in these first performances if you were to like see the video of it. But one really sweet memory I have was after the first show, this one girl who I barely knew at the time, she just gave me a bouquet of flowers. And
Oh.
that's kind of how we became friends. Still talk to her to this day.
Wow, that's so sweet. Did she say, I mean, that she was just like, I was so inspired by your performance. Here's
I
a
mean,
bouquet.
I
That's
believe
so
it,
sweet.
I'm not sure if it was my sophomore year show or my
Uh,
junior year show, but I believe her mom was like, wow, she's new to dance. She's really good.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's adorable. Yeah, and you mentioned a really important point here, which is like, even though, maybe you messed up a little bit in those first performances, just like how fun they were to be able to get out on stage and how fun it was to be able to get to perform with everybody. Because, sometimes we do make plenty of mistakes on stage, right? Like you make,
Oh my goodness, some of those videos are quite embarrassing.
but the memories stay, right? The memories of how much fun it was in those moments, they stick
Oh
around.
yeah, oh my goodness, yeah, they're so fun. I think the
Hmm.
thing I miss most about college, one of the things, is getting to dance with everyone. And I always loved how, like, when I was like running to the balcony or like running back and forth, we would pass each other and be like, "Great job!" And and it was like a really big show. The cast usually had around like 100 people.
Oh.
It was like a representation of like the community.
Hmm. Yeah, so it had a really positive environment backstage and super fun to get to perform with all your friends. Even people who
Yeah,
I guess weren't friends yet, but you were still on the same stage together.
yeah, yeah.
That's so fun. And so okay, so now you Tournesol obviously has their Rochester Ballet Company. They have their Nightmare Before Christmas. Are you in the Nightmare Before Christmas this year?
Yeah, this year, yeah.
Oh, exciting. What part are you going to play? Do you know
I'm
yet or
gonna
have
be
a
one of the
happened?
witches, which I'm really excited about.
Oh, fun. Tell me about that. Tell me about the part. Do you already know what the costume is? Do you already know some of the steps? Tell me about the part. I would love to
I
hear.
don't really know anything about it. We don't start rehearsals until next month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's so exciting. So, okay, so tell me about it. Was there an audition process? Was it just if you're in class, you can be in it, or how did it work?
There was an audition process,
Hmm.
but the audition process was really chill, I felt like,
Okay.
even though, which is surprising for me since I have performance anxiety, but I felt very at ease during the bar section. And I think a big reason behind that is that everyone gets a part no matter what, which I
Hmm.
feel like is great because last year I auditioned for a community theater production and I just wasn't my best self during it. I even with the mental preparation, even though I told myself that okay, I might not get a part, it's okay. Even with that, I was like not my best self. Like I was just so nervous.
Hmm.
I did not get a part. I didn't even get a call back.
Oh.
And also like everyone else there, well not everyone else there, but like a lot of people knew what the heck they were doing and I was competing against them. And I found this audition process for this community theater for me personally to be pretty demoralizing.
Hmm. Just in that you were in a room with a lot of people who were in a different, like they like you said, they knew what they were doing, or you felt it was competitive, or what do you have a
Well
sense of
also,
about it?
well they didn't know what we were doing. Like it wouldn't have been as bad if like everyone got a part,
I
but
see.
it would have put me more at ease. But the
Right.
fact that I was competing against people, not just for like a role, but like a chance to simply be on stage for funsies.
Right. Right. It's a little bit more competitive of a process.
Yeah. And I'm
Right.
hoping to start like create performance opportunities in musical theater and dance that are like inclusive
Hmm.
and like less competitive. I've had like bad experiences with competition during my childhood.
Hmm. Like with competing in track.
No, not track. No, I knew I wasn't going to win in track. I just did it for fun. But like, so when I was in fourth grade, people in my class did these coloring contests where we would vote on the winner. And I was actually getting really into art at the time. Like, I was the kid that would like draw all the time. Although I never won a single coloring contest ever. And also, there was like competition on who's so basically you can like draw a picture and people can use it for the coloring contests,
Hmm.
but like it felt like a competition for me. I'm not sure if it was like that for everyone else, but for me it was a competition on like whose drawing would have the most people use it. And the
Hmm.
big problem was that I so my best friend at the time, she was the number one art kid in my class and I was like stuck behind her.
Hmm.
But yeah, I felt really rough back then.
That makes sense that that would have come back to you, that feeling would have come back to you in that time of the audition. So when you started technique classes with, I guess in ballet now, has it been about a year since you started? Just trying to calculate the time. Has it been about a year since you started ballet, like technique classes regularly?
Well, during the summer, I did tap, jazz, modern, and a bit of ballet, although it was really a performance class I did.
Hmm.
And then I was in a musical during the fall. This community theater actually does not require auditions if you just want to be in the ensemble.
Oh, that's
So
fun.
I was did that, but then I started doing dance. I did ballet and modern and tap. But
Mhm.
then the dance studio closed down. So I kind of took a break for like about a month or so.
Yeah.
And then in March, I started doing ballet in Tournesol. And I recently started doing jazz at Tournesol.
Oh, fun. Tell me about your experience with ballet. What have been the parts that are the most fun, the most difficult, the most frustrating, the most interesting to try to get? I'd love to hear about your experience with ballet.
Yeah, I think it's like the satisfying feeling of when you like get a step what that you're struggling with correctly because ballet is really difficult, but like it's so satisfying too. And
Hmm.
also I've always loved watching ballet.
Mm-hmm.
I see the Nutcracker every year.
Mm-hmm. And when you find something that's like really challenging to master and you're, you have that really like satisfying feeling, what's the most recent thing you had with that, the most recent step that you got to feel that with?
I honestly do not remember. Our studio's kind of been in a hiatus for like the June session, but I am hoping to see is some improvement in the coming months. Like I feel like I understand the steps more. I'm hoping
Mhm.
to be more flexible. I've
Hmm.
been stretching every day.
Oh, nice. And what are your other goals? I'd love to hear about some of your other goals with dance.
I'd hope to get my splits.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And I'm hoping to get, extend through the levels basically. So
Hmm.
like I'm currently in level 2B. So
Hmm.
I am hoping to like regularly attend classes and do some stretching on my own time too. So I can reach the higher levels and just be a better dancer. But I also want to like start like a performance studio where which gives adults in the area more opportunities, more inclusive opportunities to like perform.
Hmm.
Yeah, I really want to do like choreography and stuff.
Nice. Like not so much ballet, but like more, you mentioned theater a couple of times, like in a kind of outside of that as well.
I like to do it with like other styles.
Hmm.
Like I'm currently working, it's still in the infancy stages, but I'm working on kind of like a contemporary piece,
Hmm.
which is actually inspired by the tarot because I'm just really into like the whole hero's journey narrative of the tarot.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Are you thinking about like that being like a full length sort of show?
Well, as of right now, it'll only be like 4 songs.
Hmm.
That's the plan. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it now, but maybe it'll be a full length show.
Yeah, maybe it'll evolve. Maybe it'll evolve and get bigger, especially as more people get involved. Sometimes things can just sort of snowball.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking of just starting out with like just some friends.
Yeah, that sounds super fun. So tell me what you're the most excited about in the next upcoming dance season. I guess you got Nightmare Before Christmas coming up around Halloween time. And then what
Yeah.
else do you have on your dance agenda coming up? Do you have any other style? I guess you just said you just started jazz. Tell me about what you're excited for, looking forward in your dance journey.
So this summer, I am going to be doing some classes at Tournesol and doing rehearsals as well. I'm also doing tap at like another studio too. And I'm doing a couple of summer intensives, one musical theater summer intensive and one modern dance summer intensive. And I'm also going to help out at like camps, like theater camps for children.
Oh wow, that's great. And when you're at the theater camp for children, that's like if they're doing like basically they have their own intensive sort of where they're putting on a show and kind of putting on a production. Is that sort of what that
Well,
is?
actually, these camps are less product based and more like process based. Like they do a showcase at the end, but it's like, for example, during the Annie camp, like if 6 kids want to be Annie, then 6 kids can do Annie.
I
Like
see.
it's a lot less like the product based camps.
Hmm. So that, yeah, I see. So they're kind of giving all the kids the experience that they're looking for.
Yeah.
That sounds like you got quite the summer planned.
Yeah.
Hopefully you've packed snacks.
Yeah.
That sounds so great. And so I'm curious for you because you've started a lot, you've tried so many different dance styles in just such a short period of time, in just about 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for someone who's a little bit nervous to start out a new dance style or to like walk into a room full of new people, especially, since you did mention you have a bit of social anxiety, someone who might be a little bit nervous about walking into a group of people and kind of, yeah, showing up in that space. Do you have any advice or things that have helped you with that?
Well, usually when I'm walking into a new class, I get really nervous.
Hmm.
Like, I consider myself to be a very adventurous person, but when I'm walking into a new class, I do get really nervous. I'd say the best advice is to just do it. And it can be scary doing something new, but like it will be over. Sometimes, like if you're really nervous for like that first class, give yourself a little reward after the class,
Hmm.
like a favorite snack or something, or a self care night.
Hmm. Now, when you are feeling nervous in class and you get there, do you tend to kind of keep to yourself or do you make an effort to like try to, meet a friendly face or like introduce yourself to this teacher? Are there any strategies that you like to use once you walk into the room to help ease the nerves?
Well, okay, so I'm autistic, so I actually have loop earplugs, which I like to wear during dance classes. I've been doing the earplug thing since like high school when my first dance class, and it's kind of a game changer for me
Hmm.
because like it makes me a lot less nervous.
Hmm.
Yeah, because sometimes I can just relax and focus on dance.
Without all the noise.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then as you're thinking about your next steps in your journey, what do you where do you hope to be in like a couple of years, like looking back on this, like let's say in a couple of years from now, you look back on this conversation and you're like, oh wow, like that, she had no idea what was going to unfold. What do you hope will be taking place in a couple of years' time? I'd be curious to hear.
I'm hoping to be running my performance studio, running my very successful performance studio. And just yeah, that's basically my goal for like the next few years.
That's great. And putting on putting on productions and kind of enjoying getting to dance with people and creating that environment.
Yeah.
Beautiful goal. Love that. Do you have any parting words that you want to send off to our audience before we sign off?
Yeah, I just want to tell you that like everyone has a different path in life. Like my path is a lot later than other people because being autistic, it takes me a long time to understand the world. So therefore, it wasn't until I was basically an adult when I discovered I have a passion for dance, but like you do not have to follow the same path as everyone else. And that if you don't, that doesn't make you like a failure. It just means that you're following a different path and that's okay.
Yeah, it's totally okay. I'm all about the different path I think we all have such unique paths, like you said, and that's what makes it so cool. That's what makes us have so much to share and to have in common and to be able to enjoy the stories of each other, not just like the cookie cutter, everything went perfectly from A to Z, but like the really unique paths.
Yeah, because I feel like there's a lot of pressure to follow a specific path in life. I remember feeling it in high school, kind of,
Mm-hmm.
where like I felt pressured to like take a lot of all these AP classes and like burn myself out and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. I just felt like there's like this path that's laid out for me, but like I'm not the type of person that follows the typical path, kind of. Actually, I'm writing a series of novels right now. And there's this one world, which is kind of like a dystopia of creating, where like everyone has to follow the exact same path.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah.
That's not fun. I bet that's a very interesting story to explore.
Yeah. And also, I remember I was thinking back to this toxic social skills group I was in eighth grade, where the person that was running it was like, it's socially unexpected to go trick or treating during high school,
Hmm.
which, by the way, and I think it was from a single Google search, but like, I went trick or treating during high school. I'm alive right now. So,
I'm alive.
and I believe her, is she said it was socially unexpected to like enjoy like toys as like a teenager or an adult. But like, I mean, if it brings you joy, then you shouldn't give it up.
Right. Being encouraged to follow your own unique path is huge. I think it's huge.
Yes.
Everyone has their own gifts and their own desires and their own journey. So yeah, it's maybe it is socially unexpected, but who cares?
Yeah.
It's all right to be unexpected. It's all right to go.
Yeah, it's fun. Makes life more interesting.
Yeah, and you meet some fun people who are
Yeah.
also doing the socially unexpected.
Hmm.
Who's to say we all have to do the expected thing of us?
Yeah. Yeah, and I do encourage people, like, if you want to do something that's socially unexpected, just go do it. Like, if you want to like do competition dance as an adult, like, go do it.
There's no need to put yourself in a box. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
no need to put yourself in a box.
No, do your own thing, live your own journey.
Yeah. And don't let anyone else to tell you to do otherwise,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
ultimately you're the boss of your life.
Yeah. Amazing. Thanks so much for coming on this show today, Sylvia. I love getting to hear your story and your unique path. I look forward to keeping in touch with your journey as you unfold. I hope you have a great show this fall in the Nightmare Before Christmas, and I hope that your beautiful pieces and production companies come to life. I can't wait to see where you go.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, dancers, I hope you enjoyed this episode with Sylvia. I'll be back in your ears next week with another amazing episode. And until then, I wish you very happy dancing.